information seminar with thanks to UCB. Today we're going to be speaking to Paul from Seizure Alert Australia about a new device which is called the Nightwatch. So there's a lot for us to unpack. So welcome, Paul. Thank you so much for joining us. And would you like to start by telling us a little bit about the Nightwatch and what it does? Yeah,
thanks, Lauren, and thanks for the opportunity to talk about the Nightwatch. And yeah, I guess we'll just start at the start and show that it comes in a nice little carry box and carry container, and you just held it up then, and we'll go through and unpack it and then have a look at how it works. And so I guess there's two features or two items within the package. So there's the base station and the armband, and then the sender unit. So this is what's doing all the work, and then the base station is what's alerting the parents and caregivers to any sort of abnormal activity that it detects. So the type of the activity that it detects is through the back here, there's a series of lights when it's turned on that look for pulse rate. So it's checking for heart rate. And if it sees an abnormal spike or decrease, so tachy or bradycardia, it'll trigger an alarm back to the base station and alert you that there's detected something abnormal. But also too, what it does, within the unit, it has movement sensors. So when the patient's asleep and they're wearing this and they have a seizure and it's moving, then that will also trigger an alarm. So it'll trigger the alarm for movement, it'll trigger the alarm for a heart rate change, either up or down, or a combination of both of those. So it doesn't necessarily just detect movement-based seizures. It'll detect seizures where there is just a change in heart rate only.
Right. Okay.
So
well,
it's yeah.
That's a unique feature, I guess, that it gives the opportunity to potentially detect those non-convulsive seizures.
Yeah, absolutely. So, if you're having tonic-clonic seizures, this will be great, and as are a lot of other devices on the market. If you're just having so tonic seizures, for instance, where just muscle tensioning and not really sort of any real lots of movement, then this is great for helping to pick up those heart rate changes that would accompany that. So yeah, it's a really good device, and yeah, really suited to a wide range of patients from about 4 or 5 years old through to 80, 90 years old. So
fantastic.
Yeah, the whole age range.
So how does the person wear the sensor?
Yeah, I don't have the band on it at the moment, but you wear it.
I do have one here. This is the one that we're talking about. Yep. So that gets worn on your upper arm, obviously on the skin, and what that's doing is through the light that's on the back will look through the skin and work by detecting the blood that's within your veins under there, and it'll tell you what your heart rate is, and then what it's doing is looking for heart rate changes. So then, once it detects that, like I said, whether it's a bradycardia or tachycardia, if there's a sudden change up or down, it'll find that and alert people to there's something abnormal happening, and to have a look and maybe render assistance. So you showed us the little box, so that's the alert. So obviously if the parents have got that, because I assume this is to be worn at night time, is that correct?
Yeah, hence the name Nightwatch. So yeah, this is for sleeping only. So it has been designed with a two-phase sensitivity. So it has a low sensitivity mode for when the patient is either sitting up in bed or is walking around, and then a high sensitivity mode once the patient's laying down and is horizontal. And the reason behind that is to prevent false alarms. So for instance, it's the middle of the night and you get up to grab a drink or maybe go to the toilet. The movement might trigger a seizure alarm. So it goes into a low sensitivity mode once you become vertical. And so it stops looking for heart rate changes and stops looking for subtle movements, but it will sound an alarm all the same if there is convulsive movement. So if you do happen to have a tonic-clonic seizure when you do get up to go to the toilet or have a drink, it will still sound the alarm, but it takes more effort for it to do that. And then when you come back to bed and lay down again, after a period of about 2 minutes of laying horizontally and laying still, then it reactivates into the high sensitivity mode, and it takes less movement, and then it's also looking for heart rates as well at the same time once you become horizontal.
That's really clever. That's a really clever feature. So, fantastic. So when the alarm goes off, obviously the carer or parents are alerted through the little box. What does it sound like? Is it a loud alarm? Yeah, so this is the base station, and you would have that by your bedside table or somewhere within, within reach or earshot, so you can be alerted. And yeah, it's quite an loud alarm, and yeah, unmistakable. So you can't mistake it for something else, and it will wake you up. But it also too, like a smoke alarm, has some little buttons on the top that you can turn the alarm off. So you might hear the alarm, you get up, you turn the alarm off, and then go and check that they're okay, and render assistance where needed. So yeah, it's an audible alarm, and it also has a series of lights on there too, which is will tell you what it's found, and then within the pack there's a instructional card, and it highlights all of the different light sequences and what they mean, and what to look for.
Fantastic. So yeah. Can you give us an example? What are some of the lights? What are some of the that they give?
So obviously, because it's mounted on a person, and people move, and sometimes you might roll over and lay on the arm that the band is on. That can do one of two things. It can move the sensor, and so it may stop picking up your heart rate. So if that happens, it'll send an alert to the base station, and it'll beep to let you know that it's no longer picking up the heart rate. And it'll also have a light that flashes, and if you look at the card, it'll show you what the corresponding light flash means. So it'll just let you know that it's not working as it should be. And the other thing that can happen too when you do lay on it like that is you might block the signal. So if you're at the extremities of the range and you lay on top of the base unit, your body will block the signal, and so weaken the signal, and so then it'll let you know that it's no longer picking up the signal from the sender unit, and so then you can go and see what's going on. Has it fallen off, or are they laying on it? You maybe just need to roll them back over the other way to make it work again.
Oh, that's great, because it's quite a what's the band made of? It's I think quite pleasant to wear and feel, but what's it made of?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's just a synthetic elastic material, and it's quite soft actually, and
it's very surprisingly soft. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's quite broad too. So it's probably, I haven't measured it. It might be 3 centimeters wide or 2.5 centimeters wide, and it's doesn't dig in, and it is really quite soft, and there's quite a length of it that comes in the pack. So you can get, if you buy it for a child, and as they grow, there's enough material there to get 2 or 3 armbands out of it over a period of time as that person grows. So you're not needing to cut it too long in the first instance. You can cut it and still have plenty left over. So yeah, it's just a synthetic, it's almost like a felt material that's got elastic built in, so it's a nice soft feel. And doesn't dig in, so it's
yes, really... so it doesn't need to be tight. I mean, it needs to be firm, but it doesn't have to be to this tourniquet tightness to work, does it? So
yeah, no, we don't need it to be cutting off your arm, but yeah, no, just as long as it's firm and it's not going to move around during the night, then that's fine. And sometimes too, a good option, obviously it needs to touch the skin, so a good option is to have it on your bare skin and maybe just pull the arm of your pajamas down over the top of it, and that kind of helps to hold it in place as well from movement throughout the night. So yeah, it doesn't tend to move too much. It sits pretty well.
Fantastic. So tell us a little bit about, I guess, obviously it's software driven. So does it need the internet to work, or can it be connected to the internet? How does that all sort of work together?
Yep, excellent question. So so this base station sits on the bedside table, or like I said, somewhere within earshot of the caregiver, and it doesn't need to have access to the internet at all to work, so it can work independently of the internet. The only thing it does need is to have access to electricity, and so the signal between the armband and the base station will be around 15 meters, and then obviously if it's within a house, it depends on the construction of the walls as to whether it be the full 15 meters or maybe only 10 if it's got some extra thick double brick walls, for instance. And yeah, so it's completely independent, and it can, and that's enough for some people. If you do have a series of seizures that aren't necessarily all movement-based type seizures, and you'd like to know why the alarm's going off, sometimes you might think it's a false alarm. You can actually, on the back of it, there's a series of plugs, so you can actually connect it via an Ethernet cable to your home internet, to your Wi-Fi router. And what it does then is the data that it's collecting and seeing through the night is uploaded to an online portal, and so then you can actually access the portal and see via a graph of the readings that it's seeing what's happening, and it'll show you when an alarm occurred and whether it was movement or a heart rate and change that caused the alarm to happen, or a combination of both. And so then you can download that data then to show a consulting doctor or neurologist what's happening and what's caused, what's happening when you're seeing these events taking place. Sometimes you might think it's a false alarm, but then when you review the data, you actually see there's been a big heart rate spike, for instance, and it could be a sign of a non-movement based seizure that's happening and warrant further investigation.
That's really helpful for particularly for new diagnosis and things, I guess, isn't it, to get a real picture of what actually is going on. And I guess, does that allow for upgrades, or software upgrades and things?
Yeah, so as it stands alone, obviously it's not connected to the internet. It is what it is. But if you connect it to the internet and there's a software upgrade or a firmware upgrade, and it can be pushed out to all the devices then to upgrade their software accordingly. So that's one of the bonuses of doing that. There's no cost to access the portal, and there's no ongoing fees. That's a free service. The only cost obviously would be accessing the internet. And it's not a data heavy type thing, so it doesn't use up much internet at all to do that. So there's no ongoing cost. It's just a straight up purchase, and you've got it for the duration that you need it for life, if so be it. One of the other things you might have seen on the back of the station, there's a 2 or 3 ports. One of the other ports is for this little device. This is a panic button. So it doubles as 2 things. So if you are aware that there's a seizure coming, if you have an aura or something and you think I'm about to have a seizure, you can hit this button and it will send out text messages to up to 5 phone numbers. So if you're living independently and you feel like you might be going to have a seizure, if you just hit that button, it'll send out a predefined text. You can tell it what you want it to say. It'll push that out to up to 5 phone numbers to alert them to maybe give you a call to see if you're okay in the first instance, and then if you don't answer, maybe they come and check on you. But also too, what it does is accesses through the system here, that if you don't get to push the panic button and you do have a seizure, then it will still send an alert out to those 5 phone numbers that you have pre-programmed that a seizure has been detected. So if the alarm band goes off and you don't get to hit the panic button for whatever reason, then it'll still send an alert out to those 5 numbers that it's detected some abnormal activity and you need to be checked on. So again, in that instance, if you receive that text message, you might call that person in the first instance to see if they are okay, and if you don't get an answer, you know there might have been something happened and you need to go and check.
I guess that just increases the functionality, doesn't it? Like you mentioned, for those who live alone, an alarm going off in another room necessarily isn't going to be that helpful, but with the addition of that, it does give that prompt or that alert, which is fantastic.
Absolutely. It's ideal for those that want that independence and to live on their own, or with a partner who might be at work through the day or something like that. So it does give you that level of independence, that there's someone sort of watching you if you're having a sleep at some time and you do have if you do have a seizure, and through the day, because this is a nighttime device, but that panic button will still operate through the day as well, so you can still hit that button through the day to alert people that you feel there's an aura. If you have an aura and you feel there's something coming on, you can still hit the panic button.
Well, so it is kind of almost multifunctional. That's really great. That's a great addition. That's fantastic. So how much does it cost to purchase the Nightwatch, and where could people purchase them from?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Nightwatch system there, as we saw it come out of the box, is $2,490. That's GST free. That's medical devices that attract GST. Includes shipping to anywhere in Australia, express post. And they can be purchased. And if you want more information, including downloading brochures and things, they're on our website, seizurealertaustralia.com.au.
I mean, and as you said, though, there's no subscription fees, which is great. And there is the ability, it's a long-lasting device, as you said, if you can update it with software and things like that. So, it's a device that's going to last a family a long time. And as you mentioned, grow or change, let's say it starts with a child, it will grow with them if needs be. So that's great. That's fantastic. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with us about the Nightwatch that we haven't discussed yet?
I just want to point out that the Nightwatch is a really new device. It's only been available in Australia directly from Australia within the last 3 to 4 months. Globally, it's only been on the market based in the Netherlands. It's only been on the market in Europe for about 18 months or thereabouts, and so it's brand new technology. It's a proven device. There's been a lot of testing. And if you look on the website, you can look up some of those test results to help justify the product and show its efficacy and show that it actually really works. 9 times out of 10. So it's a proven device. It's new to the market. It's the latest technology.
And as we said, it has that potential to pick up those non-convulsive seizures, which is quite a unique feature in seizure alert technology at this stage. Anyway, most of the devices now are quite convulsive based. So to have that additional ability, I think, is really important that people understand that, because that's something that's quite unique about the Nightwatch.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and I guess picking up movement, it's not necessarily easy to pick up movement, but it's the easier of the things to pick up. So there's a lot of devices out there that will sense movement, but to have something that will sense movement and other parameters like heart rate changes and things together is reasonably unique.
That's really exciting. It's fantastic to see this development and growth and change in this field. So that's wonderful to hear. That's great. Well, thank you so much, and we really appreciate your time, and it's been a pleasure to speak with you. Thanks for sharing with us.
Yeah, thanks, Lauren. Thanks for the time.
Bye.